guys. So now that we've hit the end of the challenge, we wanted to take a minute, obviously, to thank you for your participation in the challenge. We really appreciate it. But the main reason that Dasha and I have you here today is to walk you through your, I suppose, before and after, or your after scan, to show you a few, I suppose, insights into how you can actually read and interpret your final scan, and I suppose some areas where people may get confused, or some things that we can sort of shed a little bit more light on. I think for the most part, Dasha, this before and after scans are fairly self-explanatory, right? Hold one up next to the other. It gives you a basic idea of if you've gone up, if you've gone down, and then I suppose where the nuance comes is why that's happened. Have we gone up in body fat or down in body fat? Why did we do that? What can we associate that, and what can we learn? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. All right. So let's jump straight into it. Hey, I'm going to share my screen. Again, guys, we have a basic spreadsheet. It's sorry, spreadsheet, a slideshow. It's not death by a PowerPoint, I promise. It's just something to try and keep Dasha and I on track. So let's do this one. And let's do this. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, cool. Dasha, you can see that?
Yep, I can see that.
Sweet. That would mean that we're successfully sharing a screen here. All right, cool. So let's jump straight in. So I should have mentioned at the outset, guys, if you can pause me now and grab your before and after scans, so you've got them here in front of you, it's going to make a little bit more sense as we're sort of walking you through it. So go and grab your scans if you don't already, and hold those up in front of you so you can sort of see what we're looking at. Basically, what I've done here is I've just sectioned out the very top of your Evolt scan result sheet. And you can see in the top section here where my cursor is. Dash, can you see my cursor moving?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so what we have is a scan done on the 20th of July. And we have so this is our before. 169 centimeter, 58.9 kilo, 33-year-old female that we scanned on the 23rd, on the 20th of July as our before scan. And then our after scan is just down here. So this is the 11th. Is that right? Is that the 11th of September? Am I reading that right? Yeah, 11th of September.
Yeah.
11th of September.
Yeah.
Or the 9th of...
Or the 9th of November, one or the other.
Yes, no, that's what it is. It's the 9th of November, sorry, and the 20th of July. Yes, we're reading it. I was reading American time there for a second, or had a mental blank, whatever the case may be. And this is our after scan. Obviously, the same person, 169 centimeters. The weight is slightly different. You can see from 58.3 kilos. So we've gone down to 58.3 kilos from 58.9. Still a 33-year-old female. So it's the same person. Obviously, we've removed the name, guys, because the name is irrelevant for the purposes of what we're talking about here. But the first things to take from this, I suppose, is we have the information of height, weight, sex, and we also have a time difference in the time that we've scanned someone. So we can see that. So Dasha, obviously, weight gives us some of the picture. And this is the reason we moved towards an Evolt scanner. Is we used to have scales, and we used to have, I suppose, body calipers where we'd actually take pinches of subcutaneous body fat, which everyone hated, of course. And it only gave us a really small part of the picture. And this is why we've got now some more technology, so we can look into things a little closer, right? So the main thing that we want to just highlight here, obviously we've got the same person, but is the time of day. So Dasha, what would you expect to see in a female from, say, a 7 a.m. scan to a 4 so this is a 4 a.m. scan also, hey? So this is a couple of hours earlier. Are you expecting that we'll see much difference in the time of day in relation to the scan?
There will probably be a difference. Obviously, it depends on all the other things. So if this person was scanning after they woke up, didn't have breakfast, did have about 500 mils of water, went to the bathroom, all of those things, the change shouldn't be too big. If they already had a breakfast that on the day one, I assuming not on the day two, because 4:42 a.m. not many people have breakfast then.
Sure.
That could definitely make a difference too. So it is not an ideal situation as the time's different, but the difference is not huge as long as all the other things are staying the same. So if there was bathroom, if possible, 500 mils of water, no training, no breakfast, there would not be as big of a change as if those things were different as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I would think a couple of hours earlier would be significantly better than if this was 4:42 in the afternoon like that. You've got 2 or 3 or 4 meals under your belt by
Yeah.
then. You've had your day's water. Yeah.
Completely
So
different thing. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So I'd be fairly happy if I saw someone come through with these sort of timings, a couple of hours earlier. No major deal there. Yep.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So we've got a little bit of information out of the top here. Nothing crazy. Yes, we're down 600. Is that 600 grams? Great.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but
Yeah, but now it's probably more important. We need to look at what that's actually comprised of. All right. So if we look onto the next slide, guys, now don't get overwhelmed. This looks like a lot of information, but basically it's just 2 snippets from a before scan and an after scan. So we're looking exactly the same information. So here in the before scan, okay, it's just a section, and here on the section of the after scan. Okay. All right. So let's jump in and have a look straight up at lean body mass, Dasha. So we can see here in lean body mass. So what is lean body mass?
so lean body mass is everything but your fat mass. So it is your muscle, but it is also the body water in there and bones and everything else. So it's not just our muscles.
Awesome. So we can see we've gone from 47.9 to 50.6. Oh, sorry, I should say, are you happy to start here? Or is there anywhere else that you'd like to start on the
You can definitely start here, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so what would that suggest to you? Number one, lean body mass, an increase over whatever that 3-month period was.
That
2
can
months period.
be couple different things. That can
Mhm.
definitely be an increase in the actual muscle mass,
Yep.
but it can also be an increase in body water. So we definitely want to look at both of those things and see where the increases are and how big.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So since you've mentioned skeletal muscle mass or muscle mass and water, let's touch on those next, right? So skeletal muscle mass, we can see here at 26.8 in our original, sorry, 26.7 in our original scan, and now 28.3 in our skeletal muscle mass in scan 2, or our after scan. So we've definitely had an increase in muscle mass, right?
Yeah, definitely, which is great. That's something we want to see. Even if the weight doesn't change much, if we are making more muscle and then dropping the body fat, that's exactly what we want. So as you could see before, the weight changed only 600 grams. Not much, but it is an increase in skeletal muscle mass for sure, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. So it's all about body composition, right? So I always say, like, look, the biggest loser contestants that are 200 kilos, as an example, those guys need a reduction in body mass, overall body mass. They're carrying too much weight for their frame, right? But for most people, we need a change in our body composition. And if we're just using the scales, we might say, oh man, I've exercised really hard for 6 weeks. I've only lost 600 grams. What a failure that 6 weeks has been. But now we can actually see that our muscle mass, skeletal muscle mass has gone up, whatever it is, 1.5 kilos. I've just lost it here. But anyway, it's gone up over that time. We can see, oh yeah, that's really significant, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of muscle in, well, I think it was about 3 months for this person, which is
Yep.
still a really, really good result.
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. Okay, so since we touched on water earlier, so we can see the total body water in our before scan, 34.5, and then a couple of kilos more. So that's a big difference in our after scan at 36.5. So what do you suggest has happened here, Dasha? What's light can you shed on this?
There are quite a few things that could happen, starting with the fact that this is a scan of a female. She could be in a different time of her cycle, so that could make a difference in total body water. That's one reason I would probably go with,
Yep.
depending where she was.
Yep.
But there could be other things as well. I know that applies to males, obviously, too. The training might increase,
Yep.
which means that there might be a little bit more inflammation with that training load. So if we are having a little bit more inflammation in the body, we will hold on to a little bit more water as well, as long as it's not too much and we are not, but the whole body is not inflamed and it's not inflamed 24/7. Not a bad thing. You can see that the total body water, even in the after scan, is still in that optimal range, so not a bad thing. It can also be the fact that the person might have had something with carbohydrates for dinner the night before, holding onto the water that way, or even taking different supplements. I don't know if we mentioned that before, but that can also affect the scan results, supplements and medication. So
Yep.
certain medication hold on to water too. And
Yep.
maybe if you started taking medication halfway through the challenge, that could make a difference.
Absolutely.
Same with the supplements.
Yep. Also, if you happen to have thrown a cheat meal in here and you went something really high in salt,
Yes.
that can mess things up big time, right?
Yeah. Sodium. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So we've had a look at those couple of things. Let's touch on now, if you're happy for me to move on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Cool. So you can see our protein score here from number three, sorry, bullet point three, our protein score and our before versus our protein score after. Ideas here, Dasha, that's obviously increased to 10.7. Is this just dietary related, would you think?
I'd say so. Dietary and maybe the training changes as well. This person's
Yep.
building muscle, so that
Yep.
could be related to that too.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So, and still really healthy, right? So we're optimal range, but we've converted over to high here. Still happy, no dramas here.
Once again, it's high, but it's not high over the range in a
Yep.
crazy amount. So
Yep.
that's not a bad thing.
My thought process was always from this first column in our scans was I wanted to see people optimal or high. That was
Yeah,
always
yeah, exactly.
my approach
That's
to
a
this.
good thing. Like having a lot of muscle and having
Correct.
strong bones and lots of protein is a good thing.
Yep. Cool. And so when we touch on our mineral score, you can see this person's been consistent with their mineral score from one scan to the next, which is great. It suggests great bone health. So it would suggest that even though it looks like we've been training here, even though we've been building more muscle, that our bone health has not suffered in any way, which is what you'd expect. We'd expect that bone health to be maintained or if not improved going forward. So that all looks really good. I suppose column number one, would you suggest that looks good?
I think so. So far, this looks like a good scan. Yeah.
So far, so good. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's jump over now and have a look at body fat. So you can have a look right here. 11 kilos of body fat. Obviously, this person is quite lean. So 11 kilos of body fat made up of 10.1 kilos of subcutaneous body fat. That's body fat you can touch and feel. So if you feel an area in your body and you feel, oh, I don't like that bit there, you're touching subcutaneous body fat, right? The visceral fat is the one that Dash and I are always encouraging, and your coaches are always encouraging you to have as low as possible. This is the fat that's stored around the organs. This is not what you can feel. So back in the day, if you ever had your skin folds done or using those nasty pinch calipers, this is what we were testing, subcutaneous body fat. We had no idea what was going on with your visceral fat. All right. Okay. So on that, you can see body fat mass and bullet point number 6 was 11 kilos, now down to 7.7 kilos. Subcutaneous body fat from 10.1 kilos to 7.1 kilos. That's a significant drop. So this person should feel significantly more lean. And you can also see here the visceral fat has dropped, I'd say substantially as well, from zero point 0.9 to 0.6. So what does this tell us, Dasha? What are we seeing here?
I would say there was definitely some diet intervention in here as well. The
Yep.
person obviously was building muscle, but they were
Yep.
probably in a calorie deficit as well.
Yep.
So, they were most likely doing the right things. And with this amount of body fat percentage, I'd say it's someone who is probably doing a sport or something like that, because the percentage is a little bit lower. For females, we don't need to go that low at all. So that's not exactly the goal, but I would say because of the drop, it might be a prep for a competition,
Yep.
possibly bodybuilding, possibly sport,
Yep.
something like that, with help of a little bit of calorie decrease there.
Yeah, this looks like a training phase.
Mhm.
I would suggest. You know what I mean? This particular individual has not done this accidentally. It would look like there's been more exercise that's taken place here. It'd be look like there's more care put into the nutrition here. Is what I would suggest from how this looks, right?
Yeah, these things usually don't happen by accident.
Correct.
So building muscle and losing body fat definitely takes a little bit of work. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the holy grail, right? Is losing body fat in a way that's sustainable and it doesn't erode so much our ability to gain muscle. So what we're seeing here is actually really nice. Okay, cool. So the visceral fat area again, so 25 square centimeters. So if we were to pull that out, we'd see 25 square centimeters in our before scan and 20 centimeters in our after scan. So obviously it's a great drop there. I think that's all fairly self-explanatory. You want to add anything to that, Dasha? That's all
No,
okay.
not really. I think that's a great
Awesome.
thing to see that it's not just the subcutaneous fat, it is actually the visceral fat moving as well, which is the most important one that we want to see decreasing.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, 100%. And to see that drop so significantly, like it's only 300 grams, but as a percentage of what we started with, that's a significant drop. So that's awesome. Okay, so visceral fat level. Again, this is our normative data. If you flip over your Evolt scan, you'll see that it's broken into, I think it's 1 to 6, is it 6 to 9, 10 plus or something like that? Gives us a roundabout idea. Obviously, we want to push you into this optimal zone, which is where we're at. And you can see this person's gone from 2 as their visceral fat score to 1. I don't know that they'll be able to improve anything too far beyond this. This is a really healthy level, obviously, of visceral fat. So that's awesome. So let's jump in. We'll have a look now at intracellular and extracellular fluid. Obviously, remembering that intracellular fluid here as bullet point number 12 and extracellular fluid, if you add these two together, should spit us out this number over here as total body water. You can see 65% and 35% is the ratio of intracellular versus extracellular, as it was in our after scan as well. What this would suggest to me is this person's really well hydrated, Dasha. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I don't think there's anything to add on that. There is a little bit more fluid, but it is equally balanced as it should be around the 65 to 35%. So the balance is appropriate. It's just a little bit more water in the body, but not anything wrong.
Yep. Awesome. Perfect. I think this is an area where if we can see these percentages messed up a little bit, that could suggest a couple of different things. So if we saw these percentages way out of whack, Dasha, what might we suggest here to this individual as an example?
Honestly, if it was really all out of place, we would just suggest doing another scan and seeing if that number changed with another scan. If it
Yep.
stayed the same, there would be probably something going on as with what we said with the total body water. So inflammation is a big thing. And then what the person did prior to the scan. If you had a big workout and you're all hot and sweaty, which I know few people unfortunately did before their second scan, it's really hard to plan these things if you want to do the workout and you need to do the scan in certain times. Not perfect, but it can change those numbers.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Okay, perfect. And then you'll see here as we go down, basal metabolic rate, okay, and total energy expenditure. You'd suspect that both of these have now increased. That would be in line with the change of the body composition, right? So we've got now more muscle mass, which requires more calories for maintenance at rest. Yeah, I think that's a fairly basic explanation. Anything that you'd like to add on those two? You'd expect those to go up based on the results that we've seen here, Dasha?
Yeah, exactly. Even though that person lost a little bit of overall weight, they
Yep,
built muscle. So they need more energy to support that muscle.
absolutely. Yeah, the demand of calorie demand of muscle obviously significantly more, so you'll likely see that basal metabolic rate increase.
So we
Yep.
can eat more
Yes,
muscle,
that's
we
right.
can eat more. It's great.
We do love that. Hey, that's a real treat for everyone, I think. Cool. Okay, perfect. So from 1 through to 15 there, Dasha, is there anything before and after that I've missed that you'd like to dig into a little bit more?
No, I think
Happy
we've
with
covered
that?
everything. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So over on the right here is the best thing that everyone loves, I suppose, or loves when it goes down, I suppose. Maybe not so much the other way, but we can see our body wellness indicator here at 8.7 or 87% and bio age of 29, which is great because this individual is 33 according to the actual birth date. So great starting point. And you can see as we've gone through the process now, 28 as the bio age and 90% or 9 out of 10 for the body wellness indicator. So basically, I've always referred to this as a functionality score myself. And what I always point to is, hey, body fat mass. So this one right here, body fat mass is non-functional weight versus our skeletal muscle mass, which is functional weight. If we have more functional weight, less non-functional weight, it makes us overall more functional, and it means that we're then a little younger according to our bio age.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Dasha?
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Really, really like that as an explanation. Basically, you're fitter than the same people in your age group.
Yep.
Amazing, amazing thing.
Absolutely. So this is how we see these things manipulated. If we can keep working on our body fat percentage, if we can, body fat percentage and body fat mass, and getting that under control, and again working consistently on our skin, on our skeletal muscle mass, all these good things start to happen, right? Awesome. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty okay. Let's jump in and have a look at the bottom here. There's probably less analysis needed from us here, I think, because of the nature of what we're looking at, right? So we're looking at left leg, right leg, and left arm, right arm comparisons here. So we can just see that literally put them next to each other. You can see we've increased some muscle mass from before and after. Yeah. And we've decreased some muscle mass from before and after. Sweet. Dasha, I think I know what you see more of these than I do, but I think if you see an increase in muscle mass, usually you definitely see a decrease in body fat. They usually go hand in hand, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very rarely you would see both increasing at the same time. It might happen, but again, that person is probably doing that on purpose. So
Yep.
yeah, if someone's increasing, and that usually applies to guys more, if someone's increasing a lot of body muscle and some fat mass at the same time, they might be in a really big calorie surplus and
Yep.
trying to actually increase their overall body weight before they do cut. Yeah, but otherwise, for most of us normal people, it would be what you said. Yeah, lean mass increase, fat mass decrease.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, cool. So the arm and leg analysis, I think, is fairly straightforward, right? We're seeing an increase in body fat, sorry, a decrease in basically we're just analyzing from one scan to another, right? What does my right and left leg look like? What does my right and left arm look like? And what does that compose of? So I think that's fairly straightforward. We can also see here in circumference of the waist and hip to waist ratio, we can see some differences here. Any comments on this, Dasha? Obviously, again, this is something directly that we can compare from previous scan. But any thoughts on what we're looking at here?
It is definitely a really good thing to see if there is a decrease, because that again suggests that that person decreased their visceral fat. So they
Yes.
are having less centimeters around their waist.
Mhm.
Most likely they decrease their visceral fat. And same with the hip to waist
Waist
ratio.
ratio. Yep.
Well, yeah, that one.
Yep.
Your waist should always be smaller than your hips. If your waist is bigger or coming close to your hips, that's probably because you are having visceral fat sitting in the waist, sitting around your organs. So decrease in these is a really, really good thing to see.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. I got nothing to add on that. Obviously, we can see the lean mass and fat mass in our trunk here. Again, straight up comparison from previous, right? So we can see 19.3 kilos of lean mass versus 19.7 kilos of lean mass in our after scan. Our fat mass. Or maybe that's something that you can talk about, Dasha. Why would we see that increase, even though this person's become leaner? Why would our lean mass increase in our torso, as an example?
That is the muscle. That is just
Yep.
building the muscle in the torso.
Yeah, cool. Core strength, perhaps, transverse abdominis, all those good things.
Mhm.
This is a great thing. So even though it's our trunk, and I suppose our torso can be a scary area. People see numbers go up here and they're like, "Whoa, what's happening?" Man, lean mass to go up in your torso, phenomenal thing for your core strength, lower back, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important, really, area of our body we want to strengthen. We don't want just abs, we want our core to be strong, because we need the core for every single other thing that we are doing. So yeah, that's great thing.
Awesome. Perfect. So we're really happy with that. Perfect. Okay, cool. So I think that gets us basically through our after scan. Uh, I think that's basically a wrap up. Is there anything there, Dasha, that I might have missed that you think that we need to touch on or a little deeper, or you happy there?
I'm pretty happy. I just want to say that Um, it depends when you do the scan, trying
Yep.
to keep the conditions the same. As I mentioned, not everyone was able to do so. So
Yep.
not being too um sad about the numbers if they're not what you wanted them to be. Also, it's
Yep.
6 weeks. In another 6 weeks, it can be all completely different story. So this is
Absolutely.
just our starting point. The 6 week challenge is not everything. It's a
Yep.
starting point. So
Yep.
if those numbers are not what you wanted to see, maybe that is something to think about why they aren't. If they didn't move, or they didn't move where you hope them to, and now being realistic, having realistic expectations, maybe it is time to think, okay, I'm doing the workouts, I'm doing everything. Is my diet what it should be? Am I sleeping? Am I drinking enough water? Am I too stressed? Am I taking care of myself? All of those things are important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. I think the scan is maybe less important than why we actually got the result that we did. Like
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
tool to say to open up a conversation. Like, hey, I got great results. What did I do to get great results? And we need to learn from that so I can replicate that at any other time in my life if I feel as though I need it.
Yeah.
Or if I didn't get great results, why not? Like, don't this is a great opportunity to actually have a look into things and say, did I exercise enough? Did I eat well? All of those things that you just said, water consumption, sleep quality, processed foods, all these things. So we can actually try and learn. So, hey, if I put 6 weeks together like this, I get this result. so we can actually pull some information from it, right? And then if we need assistance with that, that's what we do. So we can actually sit down and guide you through that process and say, hey, these are the areas in which we could be struggling. If you want to make changes, this is what we can do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not being emotional about it, but being honest with yourself. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's a point.
Asking for help.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity to learn and to ask for help if we need it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time or Dash's time. Hopefully that was fairly easy to understand, I hope, and gives you a good insight into exactly what happened to your body composition during this past 6 weeks. Again, thank you so much for your participation. Thanks for your time today, Dasha, and we look forward to seeing you guys all in a session really soon.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Dasha. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.